Yeah, I was definitely a huge skeptic. Specifically, I've been in the industry for how long? 6 years now. And my dial to connect has always been hovering between 5 to 8%. I did not know that there was a way for you guys to filter better phone numbers. I thought the best solution out there was filtering by likely to engage on Zoom info. So yeah, I don't know how you guys do what you do, but one of my SDRs described TitanX as kind of like a drug where you try it once and you'll never be able to quit after getting TitanX. So yeah, I was definitely a huge skeptic in the beginning. I mean, you guys proved me wrong, right? I think you guys have a very irresistible offer, which makes it stupid for people not to try. Yeah, for sure. So we engaged with you guys on the pilot. We got 2,000 credits. I handed it off to all of my SDRs. Within those 2 weeks when we were trialing Time Next, our demo went up from 50 over the last 2 weeks to 84 within the next 2 weeks. So when we were trialing, Time Next, our demo has increased by around 60%, which is kind of ridiculous. I mean, the more conversations you have, the more, meetings you're going to book, right? So ultimately, our dial to connect increased from 5% on average to around 15%. I mean, the results are immediate. Like, the next day, one of my SDRs told me, like, man, TitanX is nuts. Like, within one day, he was able to have, I believe, like 30 plus conversations as opposed to what he was seeing before. So yeah, it's literally in 2 days. Just sign up for the pilot. The worst case scenario is it doesn't work. You get the pilot cost refunded to you, and plus you get $10,000. Once you've seen what TitanX is capable of, you won't be able to go back. It will be very, very painful. Specifically, we're going to be consuming a lot more credits from our data providers. Number two is my reps would be spending a lot more time actually just parallel dialing and not connecting with as many people, just waiting for people to pick up the phones. And I would say the last thing is if I really want to solve dial to connect, I'll probably have to use a platform like Clay, which means I'm going to have to spend a lot of GTM engineering effort into standing up those tables and consume an additional layer of credits on Clay, which is definitely not something that we want to do. Well, I'll say this. I think ultimately sales is a volume game. I think it's more around getting the reps to spend their time a lot more effectively, right? But instead of counting the number of dials, we're going to be counting the number of conversations that we're having. So I'd say it's really about saving the SDR's time, right? To not have to parallel dial, because throughout this learning process, we found that parallel dialing actually works less effectively than dialing one number at a time. If they were to dial one number at a time without tying next, they're going to be obviously spending a lot of time just combing through the ones that are not even going to pick up. Whereas with tying next, literally every one or two pickups or every one or two dials that you make is going to result in a conversation, which means that reps can now spend more time actually researching, personalizing the way they would handle a cold call, as well as more administrative tasks, because a lot of reps obviously don't update their CRM, which is a big problem. Conversion definitely increased, and I feel like part of the reason why is because they're a lot more focused, right? If they're going to be parallel dialing 5 numbers at a time and they're not going to know who's going to pick up, most of the time they're just going to be scrolling on their phones, doing some other stuff, just when they're waiting for someone else to pick up. Whereas with TitanX, they actually have to stay on top of, the dials, because maybe the next conversation they're going to have, they're going to pick up immediately. So it's like they actually need to be focused. But when they get into a flow state, you don't want to, take that away, right? So yeah, it accelerated, conversion for sure, just by helping reps to actually not be distracted, if that makes sense. One of my reps booked 9 meetings in their first day, like dialing TitanX numbers. Yeah, I'm serious. No brainer. It's like a drug that once you go TitanX, you can't go back.